Hey y'all, it's Kelly from Dixie Darling's Tumblers, and I've got a really fun tutorial for y'all today, or at least I think it is. I had fun working on it, let's say that. So we started this Fun Foil Friday in my Facebook group. So we've been going live on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, and then one of the group members said, hey, why don't we do a day that's dedicated just to doing foils? And I was like, okay, I love trying new ways to do these foils, and my group loves throwing out new things for me to try that I've never tried before. So a few weeks ago, they asked me about doing these double-sided adhesive sheets. Well, at the time, I thought, okay, so I'm gonna cut out a decal, apply that to the cup, see how well the foils stick. But once I started researching these adhesive sheets, I saw people were doing some beautiful template work. Well, y'all, about a year ago, I tried one of these templates where you do the Mod Podge and the glitter, and there are some beautiful tumblers out there that have been done, but I don't have the patience to do it. So I said, okay, one and done. I tried it. I said it. I'll say that I tried it. I did it, and then I'll move on about it. So I was really hesitant to try one of these templates, but I was like, okay, my little group, they're really dependent on me. So let's just either go big or go home. So I actually found a full-size Leopard template that I loved because I was like, okay, I've got to do this the Kelly way. I can't do just your basic template. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And then I actually ended up splicing out the center and then add my logo for just something fun and different to do. And y'all, we went live actually on Sunday night to work on this cup, and 5 hours later, my group members were still hanging in there with me. We had to see this thing through to the end, so it was so much fun. I actually love how it turned out. And the foils worked, and I'd actually have used two different types of these adhesive sheets. So you're also gonna hear my review of that. I heard a lot of feedback from different things, and then somebody in my group mentioned these cat anti-scratch tape sheets that you put on your fabric. I didn't even know there was a thing, y'all. So I tried those as well, because when they first told me about it, I was like, y'all are crazy. What? I don't even know what this is. But I'll give you my honest feedback on both of those. I used a 3M and some of these cat anti-scratch sheets. So you'll get my feedback on that. And then also, I'll actually show you how I created the template once I took just a standard template and how I splice it and add my logo. And so I thought it would be a really fun design. I told my group members if you added your monogram in the center, so it doesn't have to be my logo or your own logo, it could actually be a monogram, which here in the South, we decided, I was like, that would be huge, y'all, because everybody wants their monogram on something. So anyway, I will link all the products that I use in the description box below, so y'all make sure to check those out. I've got some discount codes included in there for y'all too. And then if you enjoy my tutorials, y'all please hit the bell and the subscribe button so you don't miss my future tutorials. And y'all please come join my Facebook group. We have so much fun. We're going live on Sunday nights at 7, Wednesday nights at 7, and then Fridays at 3 o'clock. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching. Hey y'all, so I wanted to start out by showing you how I created this template. It's just one that I purchased in Etsy. I brought it into my design space, and I'm gonna click down at the bottom where I can adjust the sizing of it. So this is gonna be for a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven, and I'm gonna use the measurements 9.37 by 8.12. So you may have to modify this a little bit depending on your brand, but that's what I've kind of found works for me. And you may have to trim off a little bit when you go lay it down, just because these adhesive sheets are a little stretchy. So now to splice the center out, I'm just gonna bring up a circle, just go down to shapes and hit a circle. And then I kind of know the basic area that I want to leave open in the center of the cup. And I'm just gonna take my cursor and I'm gonna select both of those. And then I'm gonna go down to the bottom and I'm gonna hit splice, sorry about that. And so then I'm just going to drag all the areas out here. And one of these I'm going to use for the bottom of my cup. So I'm going to delete the other two out, and then I'm actually going to take the circle on the bottom, and it's going to be about a 2.75. So looking back on it, I probably would have done it a little bit different where I could size it so it would be the same as what was on the cup. So I did have to make a little bit of adjustments, but go ahead and get your circle the size you want it to be on the bottom. And if that makes sense, and you can do this separately, so that way your leopard spots are the same size. So then I'm just going to go in and add my logo here, and you can see I've got my grid lines on that help me center it. And then once I get my logo in the center, or the monogram, or whatever you're going to use, I'm going to go back in and select both of those, and then I'm going to attach them together. So now I just have one sheet you can see here, and this is going to be what I use as my template. And then I have my circle. And so that's what I'm going to be using for the bottom of my cup. So I'm just going to go ahead and print this off all at one time. And now I'm ready to hit make it. And then once I pull this up and I go to next where I'm ready to get my, my settings done, I am going to go in, and here I've already got it selected, but I'm going to show you that if you go to all materials, you're just going to scroll down through the paper settings, and I'm going to select the minus paper. So I use this setting on both the 3M sheets and also the cat anti-scratch sheets that I purchased. So I've printed that off, and now I have my template, but I want to go in and trim off the edges. Obviously, I want this to be the exact size that the template needs to be, so once I put it on my cup, it just wraps right around with no issues. So I'm just taking my Cricut cutter, I'm going down, and I kind of have to square. I have a square around that template, so I know I have fine lines. So I can just go down and just cut right down those lines with my Cricut cutter, so I just trim off all the excess, so then I'm ready to go put it on my cup. Then I am starting with a sanded and spray painted 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven. I've sanded this with my sanding blocks, and then I've spray painted it with Rust-Oleum's 2X matte white. And the reason I did this, you can actually lay these templates down over just your basic tumbler, but I had kind of done just some research and seen what other people were saying about it, and they did say that your colors stay more vibrant if you put them over, whatever color you're wanting to use on your cup. So I did think I was going to use white as the center between all my spots, so I definitely wanted to spray paint this one white. And now I'm just trying to line the template up, y'all. So it's just a little, this is a seamless pattern, so I want to make sure that my leopard spots were going to line up pretty quick. And this was the first one I did, so I did learn a little bit as far as I've actually gone back in, and I was using here a 9.375 template, which was just barely a little too long for the cup. So I did have to go back in and trim a little bit. But here I'm just going to fold this little flap down. I'm actually not going to cut the flap like you guys normally see me do on a vinyl wrap, just because I want to have something to pull instead of having to stick my craft knife down in there. How with vinyl, I've got it done. I've got it where it's pretty basic for me to do. As far as when I cut that little tab off, and I want to make sure it's going to line up, but here I don't. And I'm actually going to do this cup a little bit different, where you guys see me usually go from the top over the cup and wrap vinyl. This time I'm going to pull the backing off, and I'm just going to be pressing the cup down pretty firmly on the table as I'm rolling it around and I'm taking the backing off. Y'all, I saw somebody do this, and I'm going to link her. I don't know right where I'm doing these voiceovers, but I'm going to link her tutorial in the description box below, because I saw her do this and I'm like, she is rolling this cup out on this adhesive vinyl like a boss. So I've got to try it this way, and I will say it worked seamlessly. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I'm not going to go back and do my vinyl wraps like this going forward, because it worked so well. So, and then I just go back in any little areas here that look like they're raised. I'm going to take what I usually, press my transfer paper down on my decals with, and I'm just going to press that down. Anywhere that I see that it's lifted up, I'm just going to take my little tool and I'm going to press it down over those areas just to make sure, because it's just kind of like there may have been air bubbles or something, but for the most part, so this is the 3M that I use, y'all. The 3M worked fine. It's one of those things I almost feel like that if you don't know, you don't know. So because this was the first type of adhesive sheet I tried, this 3M worked fine. So if you have it, it'll work fine. I will say, I'm going to go ahead and say now that I tried the cat anti-scratch sheets. They are superior. It was when I tried them, I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get why everybody's telling me these are so much better. Because I was like, oh, well, the 3M worked fine. Well, it does work fine, but the anti-cat scratch sheets hold the glitter and the foil so much better. So I wanted to give you guys my feedback on that. The 3M works, but the cat anti-scratch sheets work better, and what was my experience with them. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start peeling off my template here. So I wanted to start with the DD in the center and just kind of work my way out from that. I will say that I told my group on Sunday night, I wouldn't do little letters if you're just starting out. Obviously, the people that are doing these templates, they knew what they were doing, because I was like, oh, I don't want to do a template. That's way too complicated. Well, I'm not sure that I didn't get myself in, to something that was a little more difficult. So, and especially the Dixie and my logo, y'all, has like these little open outlined letters in there. So it took me a little maneuvering here, you can see, to get those off, because I knew they were going to be a little sensitive. But it worked. It just took me a little bit more time than I probably wanted to do. So anyway, I'm going to pull those off first. You could obviously do, more than what I'm doing at a time, just because this is kind of my first couple of run-throughs and I wasn't sure exactly what colors I was going to use where. I just wanted to do kind of piece by piece to start with. But now, if you're doing some kind of complicated template, I would say print it off on a sheet of paper and sketch it out or whatever you need to do, and number your colors so you have an idea going into it as far as what your color combinations are going to look like. I'm pretty bad, I'll be honest with y'all, of just kind of rolling with it and doing my little dear baby Jesus, please let this work out and not have any complications. But so these are the pink gold foils, I apologize, from Southern Belle Glitter. I'm sure by now most of y'all know I love my Southern Belle Glitter foils. My collection is, I would be embarrassed really, y'all. But so I'm just taking the same little tool, and then you kind of have to take your fingernails if you're doing letters or something, because the foils don't want to get down in to the kind of right up against the edge where obviously the covering of the tape is raised. So I've kind of gotten it down a little bit better now how to do it. But then there's also a burnishing tool that you won't see me use here, but since I recorded this, I've actually started using it, and it comes with rub-on transfers. And those are just rub-on transfers I have from Southern Belle Glitter. But it's almost just like a little wooden, it looks like a popsicle stick, except it's square. And those are really good for getting these foils down in these designs too. So, I'm sure there's something you can find anywhere. I just happen to have them from Southern Belle Glitter's rub-on transfers. But really anything you can find like that. I even had somebody say the end of an eraser. So I haven't tried that, y'all, but definitely my group members have kind of, they've given me some feedback. So now I'm just going to go into my next color. And y'all, there's really, I know when y'all watch my tutorials, sometimes there's not a lot I can say. I'm just going to let you guys watch. I am going to be using 3 different colors of foils on this cup. I'm going to use the pink gold, I'm going to use the silver leopard, and then I'm also going to use a charcoal that's more of like a gunmetal, like a gunmetal color. So I will have all these foils linked in the description box below. Obviously, when I'm putting out this tutorial, a lot of the Southern Belle Glitter foils are sold out right now, but she does continue to update inventory as quickly as possible. She also, last night she came out with, she came on live on Facebook and showed her group, I think 40,000 feet of new colors that are in that nobody else has. So I've seen them. They are beautiful. So y'all please be patient with Southern Belle Glitter and getting her foils in. She restocks as often as possible. And I will tell you guys that in my Facebook group, I post regular updates all the time to let you guys know what colors are being restocked, when they're being restocked. A lot of times she'll let our Facebook group members shop an hour early just because they're so loyal and you guys are so faithful to shop. So she tries to like reward you guys by letting y'all shop first before they all get sold out. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys that heads up too. So that's what I'm going to go, and I'm not going to keep talking, you guys. I'm probably just going to like turn up the music here and let you guys watch me go through the process. I didn't have a pattern laid out for the colors of the leopard print. You definitely could do like the full sheet of foil over it at a time. I just do one leopard spot at a time, y'all. Just like I end up hand laying my vinyl leopard spots on there, I'm kind of going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go through and I just kind of randomly make my own pattern as I'm going as to what I think looks good. But I definitely would recommend, if you have a complicated template and you're using lots of colors, to go in and print that out in some form of just on a sheet of paper, and you can, it's almost like a color by number, have you a pattern out of what you want to do beforehand. Okay, and then I decided to add the bottom circle after the fact, just because a lot of times if I'm sitting this down on the table, I didn't want it to have a tendency to where some of this might come off as I'm kind of working with the sides of the cup. So I did decide to go back in and add this. And you guys will probably do a smoother job than I did as far as making it blend into the bottom of the cup from the sides. I kind of just cut out my own circle that was separate, and, you know, you could definitely do these spots individually to where it would look more cohesive, but I'm just going around and cutting out right around the circle here, and then I'm going to apply this to the bottom of the cup. And I'm just pressing that down, and then I'm just going to work my way through this just like I did on the sides of the cup here. I'm just trying to make sure that all that adhesive is around the edges of the cup, just like you would on a vinyl cup. Make sure that it's really smooth so you don't have any rough edges there. And then once I've done all my foils, I don't let it dry or anything. They're pretty much good to go at that point. And I'm just going to go in and start peeling out all this other area that I'm going to apply glitter over. And I will tell you guys that I tried a different color glitter that I used on the first one I did live in the group. And you're going to see me use it here, but I don't like the way it just didn't really get good coverage at all. It just didn't stick very well, and I don't know if it was just the adhesive or it was a bigger glitter. It had like a mix of different sizes in it. So I am going to go back in and I'm going to use the same glitter that I used on the first cup, and that's going to be PDB Creative Studio's Frost. That's the one I used on the first cup. I love it. I love the coverage it provided. It gave me like a true white that just had a little bit of, not really even a silver, but it really does. It has like a little silver sparkle that looked a lot better in with the foils that I used. So I apologize. I didn't record it. I was kind of agitated with myself that I tried to do something different just to see what like more of a holographic color would look like. And it just didn't give me good coverage. So after I've got all this little area weeded out, I'm going to go right back in with this glitter. And I apologize, y'all. If I would have recorded the other one, I would have never even shown y'all this. But you guys see, it happens to all of us. Yeah, I used this glitter and it just was too big, I think. It was too chunky. I mean, and I haven't like done a lot of these, but I will say that I've done another one that had a little bit of small areas to glitter, and the finer the glitter, obviously the better it's going to work. It's what I've experienced. So I've seen people do it with chunky and it looked beautiful. So maybe it was just the sheets, but yeah, I just wasn't happy with this glitter here. I'm trying to press it down and see if it'll stick better, but it was just the dimensions of the glitter I just didn't think did really well. So anyway, enough about that. I'm going to glitter it, but just know that the final cup that you'll see has PDB Creative Studios Frost on it. Is a beautiful white. It may be one of my new favorites actually, because it just has this very fine little sparkle to it. And then I just took a dry brush, y'all, and just brushed off the excess. It was really easy. I just brushed it right off after I added that other glitter. And then I'm going to go in with a layer of Mod Podge's Clear Acrylic Sealer. So I do use 2 coats of that, and then I let that dry for about 30 minutes between each coat, and then another 30 minutes. And then I'm going to go into a layer of epoxy here, and I'm going to be using Counterculture's medium viscosity artist resin. That is definitely my epoxy of choice. I love the way the consistency of I get with it, and the thickness of it is not too thick, but yet it provides a really good coat over something, especially like this, that kind of almost has different side. Like obviously the glitter is going to stick up a little bit more than the foils on there did, but they both did really, really well. And this epoxy does really well as far as just leveling out really smooth for me. So I'm going to add this. I use about 20 milliliters on a 20-ounce skinny straight on this cup right here. And I'm going to let this coat dry for about 6 to 8 hours. And I'm going to go in and add a second coat. But before I add that second coat, I'm going to take one of these acrylic decals, y'all. It's a logo tag, and it's from Mizzy's Doodles. I'm totally obsessed with these things right now, because I kept seeing these little acrylic logo tags used on the rhinestone tumblers. And so I reached out to Jen at Missy's Doodles. I'm like, hey, you know, can we make these, or do you make them, like how thick are they? Or can they be made thinner? Like just to put on the bottom of a tumbler, or you can even put it on the side, like in the layers of epoxy. And because of the way they're made, they don't like dull up once you put epoxy over them. And they're actually cut out, and you can put like a little bit of acrylic paint on the back of it, if in a color or whatever, if it's a contrasting from your cup, so you can still see your logo. So that's what I love about these. They're not etched or engraved. So once you put epoxy over them, it covers them up. They actually are cut out all the way through, so they still show up once you epoxy them. So totally obsessed with these things. Y'all, make sure you go check them out. They will be on the bottom of all my cups. I'm going to put them right in there in that little bottom, unless it's a different kind of cup. I will have to put it on the side. But I thought it was just such a great little way to add your logo in on the bottom without it being distracting, but just a little bit of touch where you know where they came from. So I just wanted to show you guys too what they look like once I epoxied over it. They're totally flush with the cup, so you can sit the cup down and there's no, you can see like totally flush. It's in the epoxy, and I did do 2 layers of epoxy over it. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I love this. I hope that it spurs so many creative ideas from you guys about using the foils and the glitter and just all the different things that you can actually use with these double-sided adhesive sheets. So thank y'all so much for watching. Again, please like, share, subscribe, all that fun, crazy stuff. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all again soon.